Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking something you've probably heard of a million times and, let's be honest, probably failed at a million times, and we're turning it completely on its head. We're going to hack the Pomodoro Technique. Because, well, a productivity system is totally useless if it doesn't actually work for you, right? Instead of forcing your beautifully chaotic life to fit into some rigid, arbitrary rules, we're going to reframe this technique so it actually bends to your reality. If you've ever tried standard time management and just found yourself staring at a ticking tomato timer in absolute agony, you are exactly in the right place. So I want you to really think about this for a second. Is the Pomodoro technique actually too rigid for your life? Or do you just feel deeply, kind of secretly guilty for taking a break? I want to validate that frustration right out of the gate. A lot of us end up abandoning time management systems because the strict rules, they just feel like a straitjacket. But beneath all that frustration, there's often this hidden psychological guilt we carry around about resting at all. So we're going to tackle both the strictness of the system and that hidden guilt today, step by step.
All right, let's dive right into part one, making it fit your life.
Okay, it is officially time to stop the madness of this one-size-fits-all approach to focus. The standard 25 minutes of work followed by 5 minutes of rest. I mean, it's great in theory, sure, but it assumes everyone is doing the exact same type of work in the exact same environment, which is just crazy. We really have to change the intervals to match your specific reality. Like, if you do creative work, writing, design, coding, whatever it is, a 25-minute timer literally cuts you off right when you're entering a flow state. Instead, you've got to extend your runway. Try 45 minutes with a 10-minute break. On the flip side, what if your job is just full of constant interruptions? Think customer support, or maybe you're in a chaotic open plan office. In that case, shorten your sessions to 15-minute bursts. Short, protected bursts are way more realistic than trying to force 25 minutes of total silence in an environment that literally won't allow it. And finally, if you're a student cramming for exams, actually, the classic 25 and 5 format is perfect. It matches incredibly well with how long most of us can hold dense information before our memory retention just drops off a cliff. But customizing the time is really only half the battle. If you work from home with family or you have roommates who are constantly popping in to ask where the remote is, you have to protect those tailored sessions. You've got to communicate your Pomodoro blocks really clearly. Now, you don't need to hire a heavy security detail or anything. Simple, practical barriers work absolute wonders. A closed door, headphones physically on your head, even if absolutely nothing is playing. Trust me on that one. Or, a small sticky note that literally says focusing until 10:25. These simple visual cues protect your focus from outside interruptions, and they just set a clear, friendly boundary that your time is currently protected. Okay, moving on to part two, the hidden psychology of breaks. So we've talked about the pure tactics, right? Adjusting the clock, closing the door. But now we really need to pivot to your mindset, because there's a secret to this technique that almost nobody tells you. It's not really about time management, it's about permission. That is the true magic here. The entire Pomodoro system is, in reality, just a psychological tool designed to grant you permission to rest guilt-free. That is its actual superpower. See, most people feel incredibly guilty when they take breaks. They operate under this toxic old mindset that rest is a reward you only earn after you've completely collapsed from pure exhaustion. It's wild. But this technique, it flips that old way entirely. It builds rest directly into the plan. You never have to feel guilty about it because the break isn't a reward for working hard. It's a required, mandatory part of the system. It's literally exactly like the work itself. And because of that mandatory break, a much deeper psychological shift starts to happen in your brain. It becomes a mindset of not never, just not yet. When you know a guaranteed break is coming in 25 or 15 or 45 minutes, distractions suddenly lose a lot of their pull. That familiar nagging itch to check a notification, open a new tab, or just doom scroll social media, it actually weakens. And why? Because you're not telling your brain never. You aren't denying yourself your phone forever. You're simply telling yourself, not yet, just 25 more minutes. That small, incredibly simple mental reframe is very often the single difference between staying beautifully focused and falling down a massive digital rabbit hole. Which brings us to part three, your 25-minute challenge. Okay, so we've got the customized intervals down, we have the psychological permission to actually rest. Now it's time to build up the energy and instantly break that agonizing cycle of procrastination. To do that, you just need to understand the mechanism of action here. The timer signal. Honestly, this is the most underrated part of the whole system. Just the simple physical act of pressing start on a timer sends a direct signal to your brain that this is real protected time. That physical signal alone, completely separate from any expensive app or fancy productivity hack, is very often the exact thing that unfreezes you. It breaks that procrastination cycle that keeps so many of us stuck before we even begin. So, let's put this into immediate practice with an incredibly simple playbook. Here's what we're going to do. Right now, pick just one task you've been putting off. Just one. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on absolutely nothing else until that thing rings. And guys, this is the absolutely crucial part. Take a real, guilt-free 5-minute break. I'm challenging you to try just one modified Pomodoro session right now, literally the second this explainer ends. So I'll leave you with one final question to think about. Will you surprise yourself by getting more done in 25 focused minutes than an entire distracted hour? Try just one Pomodoro and find out for yourself. If this breakdown gave you a system you're finally ready to use to conquer your day, hit subscribe so we can keep hacking the way you learn and work. See you in the next one.